You are live. How is your abundance? I am so excited to have this conversation today on our Give Voice to Your Vision, where we stop the spinning wheel and we get real. So it is clarity you feel. I am so excited to have Krista with us today. We're talking about how to ignite your abundance. Welcome, Krista.
Thanks, Michelle. It's so great to be here.
Inochovsky. I didn't say your last name. Did I get it right?
Good. That's perfect.
Inochovsky, yes. Krista is an amazing abundance expert, a growth catalyst. She has, I'm going to read a little bit of your official bio so our friends know who you are. And you guys were talking today about abundance, about why is the law of attraction you keep hearing so much about maybe not working for you? How can you ignite your abundance? What's required of you to ignite your abundance? And as I have dubbed this the summer of self-expression, we're going to have a quick detour, deep dive on what does that self-expression have to do with abundance? So we're going to make it up as we go along. Krista, I'm so excited to have you here. Krista is a catalyst for growth-minded people, that's you guys, to awaken their authentic self-confidence, right? You see why I brought her here for you. She's amazing. And ignite their potential for unlimited success. And that is what we are talking about today. One of the things that I shared as I was creating this invitation, Krista, was this idea that no matter where you are in business, you have limiting beliefs to expand through, right? That expansion, which I've seen you sharing so much about recently, is required no matter where we are. So I would love, hello, radiant ones. Erica Schreck says hi. Thank you for being here. We'll share her quote. Krista, what's the scoop? What is the deal with all this law of abundance and why isn't it working for some folks?
Well, yeah, that's a great loaded question that we'll get to. And I just wanted to put out there that as we are growing and having these goals for our business and getting our voice out and all of these beautiful things that you talk about and all of your audience is up to, that it's incredibly important that we continue to elevate who we are as humans to be the person that we need to be to do the things we say we want to do, or to grow the business, or have the reach, or have the income. We can't just throw out goals and stay the same.
Yes, so good. Tell me more.
Yeah, so that looks like I believe we're all on a journey. It's part of the work that I do is talk about being on a journey, and it's our own journey of self-expression, of authentic being, and I feel with age, getting clearer and clearer on who you are. Like for me, obviously, I'll take it on myself, who I am, what I'm called to do, and that takes continual awareness, shedding, releasing of the old, releasing of stuff that I realized wasn't mine, releasing of expectations that don't serve where I choose to be in my life now and moving forward. And I find that continual growth really exciting and fulfilling and like this driving factor, because success it's the joy of the journey of getting to where you want to go, not being miserable about it in hopes that you get there someday and then celebrating when and if you get there.
For sure.
Igniting your own desires. I don't talk on igniting your desire. So you know what excites you, what interests you, what your passions are, and just bringing that level of joy and excitement, curiosity, eagerness into your daily life. It's all about a good life. To me, is a series of good days.
Nice. So I know we have people here specifically who are answering calling and finding purpose. And I love that for myself as well, as I get past a certain age, the calling has never left me. It has evolved and grown and will continue to evolve and grow. But there was so much of my earlier life that was trying to figure it out, make it happen, and introducing all this contrast and really like, when I get here, then I will be XYZ. And what you're talking about, and I have seen it transform the abundance in my own life, is what's really good now? Who do I want to be? And how can I step into that and celebrate the joy along the way?
Right, absolutely. And there's no wrongness in anything we've ever done in the past.
Right.
We're evolving. If we're moms, our kids are getting older. You know, I'm divorced. Now I have there's different career paths. Broadway's closed. I was a professional dancer years ago. You were a performer. So and they're all choices, but it's creating it in a way that feels like an intentional progression of life. With intentionality. And so for me, it's about doing the inner work just as much or more so than the strategy, the marketing, the business,
100%.
the strategic. It has to come together.
100%. And so many people, you know, I'm working with people that have visibility stuff, or they want to be more visible. They want to build credibility, and the strategy, tactics, and tools are always secondary to the permission, the ownership, the self-expression, the playing bigger, getting past your edges. So that's 100% true. I want to talk and ask you another question about choice, because so many times we don't realize that we have a choice. So I would love for you to talk about choosing as relates to you and your perspective and your work. How do we choose? Can we always choose?
I believe that life is a series of choices. And when you recognize that and own that you can choose and choose again and choose again, it helps take fear away. It helps stop procrastination or ever feeling stuck. Just make a choice. And if it's feeling good and you're liking where that's going, continue on that path. If you make a choice and it has a strong contrast of this is not working for whatever reason, that just helps.
Doesn't feel good.
Right. If it doesn't feel good, then that's the thing. They say, thank you for giving me clarity on what I don't want. And now I get to choose again. So if we can always just know that we hold the power of choice, I really do believe it helps take fear and procrastination out of the picture. And the better you get at choosing, the more decisive you become, then that's an empowering tool as well.
Yeah.
And the key to that is your own self-confidence. And the more centered you are daily with who you are, what you stand for, like 2 feet on the ground. I mean, this is Krista. This is who I am and what I'm about. I feel stronger now than I ever have before. And so to make a choice, I feel good about it because I'm not asking for other people's opinion. I'm not what-ifing based on other things. Yeah. I feel really, really connected to myself and source. And so making a decision is just like, all right, this is my choice today. And boom, that confidence of making aligned choices just feels great. And I hope
I love that so much. And the alignment is key. I wanted to say, you know, so much of the if we don't make choices, then we're choosing by default, right? And we're letting life happen to us and reacting and trying to handle it, right?
Absolutely.
If we take the power of choice, then we have all those opportunities that you just so beautifully illustrated. And we are the only ones who can give ourselves permission to choose. Right? So many times I know especially in my performance career, I was looking for permission and approval outside of myself. And that is definitely that started a brilliant, for me, enlightening, exciting, thrilling journey of self-discovery at a very young age that some people don't do. But we are the only ones who can give ourselves permission to be at choice. And it can feel like if I'm going to say, well, if I take responsibility for my life and my experience and my joy and my desires and my goals and my prosperity, then am I to blame if I don't get it? Or there's some sort of kind of misunderstanding, I think, that so many of us have. And so I love also what you said about you can't do it wrong and everything's just showing you. It's data collection, right? Collecting the data and looking for that positive data.
Yes. And here's something that just I want to feel compelled to share.
Yeah.
We're
You're
in
guided.
a space where you do feel stuck and I don't have choice and I can't see a way out.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to ask you not to make a decision until you go in and do some inner work. And chances are you may need some help and guidance in doing that. You need to reconnect with you. And again, I'm co-creator. It's not just me. It's my, me with my connection with source.
You and your higher self, your inner being, your connection to source, God, universe, whatever that is. We are not alone.
Right. So come back to that, get strong with that before you make the choice. Because if you are in that headspace and heart space and emotion of anything that's feeling depleting, and you're like, okay, well, they said just to choose. Well, your choice is probably not going to be a good one because now it's just you never want to choose out of fear. You want to choose out of opportunity, and you don't want to
or curiosity, right? Yeah. And so I'm just going to say that I couldn't come to finding out. I couldn't even believe or take responsibility for my choices without support. I had to do, and years ago, that started as a 12-step process, and but there was some therapy in there, and there was quickly realizing for me, it was a spiritual journey. And so I began a series of everything from dance meditation. I became a yoga teacher. I did lots of great, crazy, ooey gooey stuff that have set that foundation for what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not willing to tolerate, that barometer for me to sense into like the clarity of like, ooh, this doesn't feel good. How do I want to shift, or how do I need to take care of myself? Right. But that started in a morass of kind of confusion. So that the point being that if you're feeling really stuck and like you don't have choices, or you can't make a choice, or every choice turns out badly, it's definitely time for you to have some support. We can't see the forest for our own trees. There's a bajillion ways you can get support from, the self-help books or the creative inspiration or the, there's lots of people, gurus and teachers. But for me, that deepest transformation has come when I'm working through a process, either with a really safe container with a group of other people who are also working on that process. And there's something that we do in all my courses with transformative witnessing, because we're talking about visibility. And there's just something about being in a container with people who are all committed to the same growth, whether it's business, visibility, inner growth, receiving abundance, relationships. When you're in a container with other people who are willing to transform for your beautiful theme of expansion, it is accelerating. It is so much easier. We need ways for the universe to talk to us outside of our own awareness when we're coming from that stuck place.
Yes. And that's actually why I created what I'm doing now. That's coming up.
Let's tell them.
I see a lot of people they're aware, right? They're interested, they're curious in different versions of law of attraction and neuroscience and how the brain works and the emotions. Reading the books, listening to podcasts, the analytical part
watching this interview.
Watching the interview, like, okay, it's like new information of, cool, that sounds good, I should do that. But that's not the same as doing it. And 100%. So I recognize a lot of people say, but I don't really know what does that look like?
What do I do?
I do it ongoingly enough that it creates actual transformation, because what we're talking about here is reprogramming how the mind and emotions, these are deep, deep, deep set triggers and patterns that have been running our entire life, if not before.
Maybe lifetimes. Yeah. And from rewiring neural pathways to reprogramming emotional vibrations, like it's deep work, but it doesn't have to be hard or complicated, and it can be broken down into bite-sized elements, but you do have to do something differently. Yes. Here we say transformation happens through implementation. Right. So soak this up, listen to this interview over and over again, read the books, download the audios, go to the podcast, do those things. But until you act into your right thinking. I say you can't think your way into right action, but you can act your way into right thinking. Right being what's aligned with your highest good. And that includes all the stuff you want.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're dreaming big and looking to create visibility for this new business that you're doing or the current business that you want to reach more people.
Or you're at that threshold of like, it's working, but I really want it to be this way, or I want to pivot, or I want to have my business do this while I get to go do that. So there's always another layer of that. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think
where we bump up to that is in our own individual limiting beliefs of confidence, of exposure, of being good enough, of many, many things. And they're often deep. We don't necessarily recognize them. They're not running around. Sometimes they like literally are. Like you'll get, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. But
I could never do that. Right, but you have to have the awareness to catch that thought, right? And then the willingness, at least a little bit of willingness to believe like, well, what if that's not true? Right? Because if we're so invested in, for me, that playing small is a defense mechanism. It's a survival. It's a leather jacket for me when I was in my early 20s, right? I'm so not a leather jacket person, but I really tried. It's armor because it doesn't feel safe, right? It doesn't feel safe. And that is, I didn't know it until I knew that, right? That contrast that you're talking about. I didn't know that I was armored up and hustle bustle, trying, striving, pushing, just to prove I was worthy of existing is what it really came down to. All I knew in that moment was like, this isn't working. I'm not happy. Something's got to change. And then I had just a little bit of willingness that it could change.
That's right.
Right. And then other people, right? Messengers, books, tools, people, inspiration. And with that little bit of willingness, that connection to source, inner being, higher self, whatever you want to call that, was able to quickly come in a lot of different ways. But all along for me, it has been having guides and community and collaborative transformation, co-creating.
Yes. When you invite it in, that's where the abundance comes in. Or the abundance that I'm speaking of is not, it is money is definitely one area that we're talking about, but it's abundance of all things and abundance of the wisdom, the knowledge, the teachers, the right
the confidence, the
time,
clarity.
Things. And even, simply hearing this message today, this speaks to you like, this is what I needed to hear today. And this is my call to take action, my push to know, wow, there's an invitation that where I don't have to just think about wanting to do it, but having a guide to implement these small changes in how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, understand it, and make those adjustments.
And really valuing your own desire and your own longing for something greater, bigger, more peace, more joy, more money, whatever that is, really allowing and honoring that just because you want it, ooh, that would be great, is all the reason that you need. And then being willing to invest a little bit of time, focus, energy, money, whatever that is, to say yes to the thing you want. Which if we're really, really stuck, it's like, I want to get stuck. I'm not happy. I'm not in the relationship or the business or the whatever I want, but it's being willing to say or invest or do that, that you're worthy of it. Right. And so go ahead.
I was going to say, often when people get stuck, the focus becomes so much on the things that they don't like and it's not working and how they're feeling, that they lose sight of desire and fun and pleasure and that thing that should be drawing you forward. And that's where I come in and help people have permission to ignite their desires, their vision, to dream bigger and get that happening. And then how to connect it vibrationally, emotionally, with all of your senses, so that you have you become the strong driving force into the future, that in the direction that you want to go, and don't just spend another 6 months, year, 5 years kind of swirling around and but it's
fine. It's good enough. I have to say I have a really direct, and it was poignant personal experience of that because I have been on a journey for a long time. I have been living the main focus of my life in a context of a spiritual process and with surrender and willingness and all of these tools for a long time. And about 8 to 10 years ago, I had at that point like an 11-year-old and a whatever the different 6-year-old, and they're both special needs. And I, in terms of like anxiety, ADHD, some, what do they call it now? They just spectrum stuff. They changed the names. So it was rigorous. And both my husband and I, who have this connection and been living on this basis, were in a cycle of like, we just wanted enough to get by. We just wanted enough to get the medical support and the alternative support. We just wanted it to be a little easier. And we would get into this survival mode gratitude where we're like, we've got a house, we have the right people coming in, we have enough to get groceries today. And the more survival mode gratitude we got into, the smaller our resources became. And it was,
it can be the pat on the back of like, wow, I'm so good. I can live on next to nothing. I don't need all that other stuff. Look at how much I can save. Look at how little I can do. And it actually becomes like an internal praise, or maybe it's a praise from somebody else.
For sure. Yeah, it can easily. Being frugal, being like, I don't need all that. That was, I grew up pretty poor. We were under the poverty line, single mom, 3 divorces, blah, blah, blah. And so I really, as a kid, was like, I'm better than people who have it easy because I've had it harder. And of course, that wasn't true at all. And to that point of that survival mode gratitude, I had a deep surrender of like, it is not supposed to be this hard. It was like a cold bucket of water when I realized through a series of like hustle, boy, did I hustle. I'll try this, I'll try that. It's not supposed to be this hard, but I was so hustling. I said recently that when I was hustling so much and there was so much striving that God couldn't get a word in edgewise. Like my invisible staff, all of the flow and the ease and the synchronicity and the serendipity that could line up for me was that armor was up again because I was so busy trying to make it happen. And it was really like a cold bucket of water when I first had that thought, like I'm grateful to a fault almost, like my like, this is fine. We're good enough. We're so blessed. It's good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. And I really felt like I really was grateful. I wasn't trying to be grateful, but it was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
And then the pattern becomes force. Everything's happening out of force and struggle. And then again, it can be kind of that pat on the back. Look how hard I work. I'm the martyr. I can do it. I'll do anything. I don't need to sleep. And then you create an energy and a pattern of force and struggle. And then there's no room for ease. There's no room for joy. There's no room for extra space.
I think the way it went for me was like, what am I not doing right? What am I missing? What I was confused rather than like, see how good I am. For me, it was like, why isn't it working? Nothing. It became more like a self-doubt or an uncertainty and the collapse. And I was just worn out. But that being worn out. And so if this conversation can save even 1/2 of one person, one moment of being that worn out, if you're relating at all, we're going to share a way for you to reach out to Krista. Do whatever it is, do something, right? Like it doesn't have to get that bad. But for me, it really became this like, but I am grateful and we are so blessed. Why is it? What am I not getting right? What am I missing? And that question allowed me to follow and a 20-year habit of following strange impulses, right? Like if you get an impulse, like, right? Or even if you just like, I give up, right? Like I'm going to surrender this moment. Like I am giving up. Show me something. So if that's this interview right now, then pick up and listen and do something is what we're telling you. And that moment can cause a huge shift and an opening, that crack in the door crack in the door of willingness can cause a huge shift. But then it is essential to listen and do the thing. I did some crazy things to rewire my abundance, investing crazy tens of thousands of dollars I didn't have in business and support and healing and mindset expansion. And it was rigorous. There was still a lot of the old hustle pattern in it, but it was the beginning of a massive expansion. So follow your impulse, invest in yourself, your time, your energy, your focus, attention, like a rigorous, beautiful, sacred practice for a few minutes a day, or, can make a huge impact. So Krista, will you tell us what you've created? Something beautiful. Thank you for letting me look into that. It's a stunning opportunity and experience for folks. If you're picking up what we're putting down, Krista has a really powerful way to go on this journey with her. Will you tell us a little bit about what you're creating there?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. The Ignite Your Abundance journey it's the implementation that I was talking about. It's not just more information. It's not a video series of things that you can, learn elsewhere. It's how do I actually bring this into my life? And so the journey, it's a 40-day journey. And I'm like, I don't have time for a 40-day journey. I said, well, you're going to wake up every morning. You wake up every morning, you have your habits, you have your thoughts, you have your patterns. And
if you wake up with the same thoughts every morning, you're going to get the same things. So
same thing.
How can you shift them?
It's a gentle guidance on how to begin changing from the moment you wake up and creating a morning practice. And then as I get people a little more comfortable with their daily practice, and it begins to bleed over into the rest of their day. And it's bringing, really it's awareness of all the things. Awareness is step one for personal expansion.
100%. Here we talk about transformation always has the same 3 steps. If you don't like what you have, then something inside you has to transform. And it's always awareness, acceptance, and action. And this is a powerful way for them to take that action.
Yes. So I've written a 40-day journal, and the journal becomes your guide. So every morning you'll wake up, not with a video of my face, because I want everyone to be really as internalized as possible. So they're going to wake up to the day of the journey. So day 1, there's something to read. And from that, I'll be giving different ways that you can write it in your journal, that you can pick out the words that speak to you, that you can meditate. I'll be talking about just different ways, very user-friendly, practical ways of meditation with music, different tools, so that throughout the journey, you're experimenting, playing with different alignment and mind shift tools, so that you can begin to select the ones that work for you each day.
Great. So how much time is it going to take me every day? How much time is it going to take me every day?
At the minimum 15 minutes. At the minimum 15 minutes. And then other days, my knowing is that you'll enjoy it. You're like, oh, this is my time. I've got my cup of coffee. I've already talked to my family about not bothering me during this time. It's my time. I've got a place for it. And I get into it and enjoy it and start to reframe and set things differently and start the day with a whole different set of intentions of where you're going and who you are and who you're being. And also, it just as the name says, Ignite Your Abundance, it's going to really dive in and take a deep look at your abundance beliefs of all things.
Wonderful.
I believe we can't say, yes, there's an abundance of money in the world, but I don't think there's an abundance of love. There's not enough love for me.
Or time.
Utilize time. There's not enough time. I'm too old. I don't have time in the day, whatever time looks like to you. And so again, it's about awareness. We're going to start unpacking each person individually, so you can take a look at, where do I feel that there's not enough of me, of time, of money, opportunity, etc., and start to clear those channels and those paths. And as we open up the energy of abundance, one area at a time, it begins to spill over. And then even just different ways to recognize the abundance that's in your life that we're not acknowledging. The acknowledgement of it, the emotional connection, is the biggest part of it. You literally need to be doing the happy dance when something comes in. And I don't care if it's a $2.50 refund check that your bank overpaid you on something. Or
an extra 15 minutes on your calendar. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's programming. It's reminding yourself emotionally, like, yes, this is what I'm asking for. And this is what feels good. And
then stoking that good feeling.
Yes.
Right? Stoking that good feeling instead of like trying to capture it and hold on to it, make it go, or letting that other habitual set in, right?
Well, yeah, like, oh, well, I mean, it's good I got this, but I don't know if I can still pay my bills.
But it wasn't that.
Or, well, I got this client, but that other one didn't sign up. And a lot of us are sabotaging and not even having that good emotion, having the celebration, telling the universe, yes, bring me more, because we're instantly going into, oh, but I haven't achieved this.
It's not good enough. 100%. So good. So there's an opportunity to journey, and there's some, is there also working with you in this invitation?
Yes. So every week we do a Zoom that is going to set you up for the week with lessons. Nice. And then you're going on your own. And then a couple times during the week, I do office hours. So you can just come in with Q&As. I want to hear from you. What did you unfold? What did you discover?
Huge connection.
What
it's
questions?
So powerful. That's cool. I have a link. We're going to put it up here and I'll post it in the comments so that folks can come and see what you're creating. And I'll tell you, I think that worked. I think I have to come back and post it in the group we're streaming in. I'll come back, guys, in the Power Up Your Presence group if you're watching there, and we'll post the link there, or you can type it in here from the banner just to check out what Krista has created. It's a unique transformation journey. And as you can tell, she does the work. She's done the work. You were talking about, I was playing devil's advocate and be like, how much time is it going to take me? Because I have deeply embodied and known how busy it feels, especially parenting and growing a business. I slipped into, so the yogi years, I had like a good decade of morning meditation and self-care and a whole lifestyle practice around that. And then I had 2 children. And a lot of that fell away. Right? 2 special needs children. So it was very all consuming, and they're brilliant and they're doing great. And then that part of that journey that I shared about 10 years ago, when they were, 10 and 6, was when I realized I have to have time. And the more I implement that 15 minutes a day as a minimum, now again, over years, business triple, doubled, 10x, time triple, double, 10x, health, feeling good in my body on the mend, rapid awareness growing. All of those things happened, and it really was 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes absolutely naturally, sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm going to go 30, or I'll let the 15 minutes come and go and just stay with myself. And the lie that I didn't have time was exactly that. And taking that 15 minutes changed everything. That changed everything in my daily rhythm, changed in my clarity and focus, changed my relationships with my kids, changed their happiness, changed my productivity level, and of course, all those other things around business and growth and impact, right? So if you are not willing, I will say you do have time to take 15 minutes a day. And if you are not willing to take 15 minutes a day to ignite your abundance in all things, to feel better, to expand with support and clarity, and the channel that can open with that 15 minutes, then you really want to take responsibility for that, right? It's not a choice you have to make, right?
Yes.
And if you're not sure how, or if it feels like it's going to be hard, or you're worried that you're going to commit, you've got the support and the mirroring to help you do that. And Krista started today talking about how we can't get it wrong, right? We can't get it wrong, and we never get it done. And every human, especially busy women over 50 like me, deserve and can create massive impact when we take that 15, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it becomes for you.
And even 2 things are coming to mind, knowing that all the people who are coming, who are in the journey already,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love for you
Mm-hmm.
to join. One is they're all growing something, and they're all in programs. So the program conversation came up, oh, I'm in a program. I go, well, I actually call this the unprogram because it's not a program and it's unprogramming your mind. So I thought that's
Nice. I love that.
play on words.
I love that.
It's not an analytical program where we're going to talk about your business and you've got to show up and put together your messaging and all of that. This is truly about time for you. The other piece to that is a lot of people already have some sort of practice, some sort of morning routine, or they have done it, but it's kind of fallen off. I even have coaches who are in this space and teach in their own way this type of work, who are taking it because it's so beautiful to change things up and be guided in a new way and have a new experience.
And
receive, just to be willing to show up and see what are these words. And while we're talking about carving out 15 minutes to do it, that there'll be a word, a phrase, a theme that is going to sit in your heart all day long and is going to, that's where the transformation comes, is that spills over into your day. It doesn't take you extra time. It's there. It's in your heart. It's as you're answering a question. It's in your beliefs about yourself. It's how you're making these choices. And that is what the journey is. It's not about just day one. It's the accumulation of staying with yourself, trusting, developing a tighter, closer relationship with you and your higher self. And that relationship also takes and deserves time and space and beauty. And, without it, it's too easy to struggle. It's too easy to feel forced. It's too easy
slip back in, get distracted, get bombarded, get overwhelmed. So whatever you do to implement whatever has opened up or lit you up today, take that time and give yourself the gift of that time. Giving ourselves that 15 minutes can help us give ourselves so much more. And it's really up to us to become willing to receive and to invest in the inspiration, support, guidance community with Krista that she's creating, if that speaks to your heart, to follow that nudge, right? To follow those nudges like we've been talking about today. Adore you. Love having you here so much. Any parting words for as we conclude our time together around igniting your abundance?
I do feel very present to the fact that we're still in a changing world. We're kind of coming out of one change, and it's how we all have this opportunity to step up and step forward. And I believe that the world needs each and every one of you out there. If you are listening to Michelle, if you have a calling, if you're giving voice to your message and all of those things, then sing from the rooftops. The world needs you.
Yeah.
It needs each and every one of us to be the light and the spark that we have, and to help those who aren't called yet, to be those guides. And the more that we individually can support our inner selves so that we can do what we feel called to do, the more expansive we'll be, the more we can make an positive impact in the world. So I appreciate all of you for the work that you're doing, and do it, shine, sing loudly.
So good. Yes. So good, Krista. Thank you so much. I could keep going. I'm going to resist the impulse, but yes. The people who are called, we can always shine ever brighter, and the more expansive and the brighter you shine, the more you want to receive. There's always the channel always is expansion, right? No matter where you are. And this is an incredible place. The abundance mindset, energy, emotion place is where it all comes from. So allowing and remembering to do that work yourself, to do that work, whatever time or process you need, and to lavish yourself with the support, the encouragement, the guides, the tools that you need in order to do that, will only increase your abundance more.
Yes.
So really love having you here so much. You guys feel free to reach out to Krista or myself. You're welcome to leave comments here. If you do come and watch this replay, please share some takeaways in the comments, #takeaway, so that more people can be uplifted, inspired, and guided to ignite their abundance. And feel free to share this with anyone who you think might benefit. And you can tag us depending on where you reach out to us. Both of us are in Facebook and Facebook Messenger if you want to ask us any questions. I always am happy to support and answer any questions that come up from any of the interviews that I do. We love to actually talk to real people via Messenger, and even, on Zoom. We're building relationship transformation businesses. So please let us support you, get your questions answered, and reach out if we can help you in any way.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Awesome. Good to have you guys. Happy Saturday, and we'll see you on the next Give Voice to Your Vision.